this though, Buzz, will it become one of your most satisfying seasons as a coach?
I think so. It's definitely my most satisfying season thus far in my career, even though it is somewhat laced with emotion now. Not because we. I don't know how to frame this. I think the results make it sweeter, and that's what makes everybody say now, wow, you defied the odds, and Buzz, you can coach. No, it has nothing to do with that. I think players and coaches have to validate their careers on their own, in their own soul, not in accordance with what a media contingent would say. And I don't mean that negative towards you. I just think that our team played, in my opinion, the way you're supposed to play. They made the extra pass. They were the first to the floor on loose balls. They were great teammates. You never saw any sort of selfish ambition or a bad shot taken because I need to get one, it's my turn. It was all just team. And despite our deficiencies, I thought that their willingness to accept those, which is hard to do, and then figure out a way to combat those, that's what makes me proud. All those guys are going to graduate. All of those guys, you have zero off-the-court issues with in terms of who they are or what they're doing. You just zero, no worries whatsoever. I mean, we text late at night and on the weekends, you know, and I'm texting 20-year-old kids, you know, and they're at the dorm and I'm at my house, and we're talking like 20-year-old kids. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. We got to work hard tomorrow. Okay, we got it. You know, that's what makes me proud, is that I think that everybody was both feet in, and everybody was we're all going that way, and nobody was looking around. Everybody was tunneled in on this is what we're doing, and that's what makes me proud.
You figure Junior's going to come back 100% next year. You've got some pretty intriguing options coming in that could possibly play the point for you. Is that a position that you look at as maybe the most intriguing, or one that excites you the most moving forward?
Well, I think this. I think part of how we play, you really need to be able to pass, dribble, and shoot. Because if you can't, it's hard for you to fit. And I think that of the three guys we signed, some of them are better than others in some of those categories, but I don't think any of them are non-existent in any of those facets. And so I just like the fact that somebody's going to be fighting somebody else to play. And I think when you're fighting one another every day, both of you are getting better, and because both of you are getting better, our team's getting better, and because our team's getting better, that means we're trending in the right direction. And I'm cautious, Todd. That's one lesson I've learned. I'm cautious about what is written or what is perceived of players before they get to campus. But the other thing is like DJO. I remember talking to Dodds in the fall, and I was telling Dodds, I think he's the best player. In my heart, that's what I thought. I didn't think he was going to be what he was. You know what I mean? But I also didn't think that we would have some of the Junior breaks his, tears his Achilles. J-May leaves. That stuff starts, that puts a dent in what you're trying to do. And not only does it put a dent in what you're trying to do for this year, it impacts you in future years. So Chris Otule, he's going to be a sophomore next year. We've been needing Chris Otule to be some sort of player since the day he got here, and thus far he hasn't been. And I'm not blaming it on him. I mean, injuries are part of it, but it's kind of the same thing with Junior. Hey Junior, we really needed you to be the point guard this year. You might not have ever beat out Mo, but our team changed, and our record proves it. When I was able to say, hey Junior, you run the white team point guard. So now we can actually prepare for an opponent. So I'm telling Kubi, prior to that, Kubi, listen, run the white team point guard. But as best you can, pay attention to what the 2 guard is doing on the blue team, because that's who you really have to be in real life. That's why you need more guys, you know. And well, you can't have a 10-man rotation. You can't have 11-man rotation. Maybe that is not my personality, but it's more my personality to want to have those available. You know, Washington played 11 guys. I think they played 10 minutes or more, I think. And maybe I would only play 9. But however it shakes out, they're having some really good practices every day. And those guys that are not playing are getting better every day. The guys that played a cumulative total of between 30 and 40 minutes in the Pac-10 tournament, those 2 guys are the reason why they beat us. So,
Buzz, you been called up-and-coming coach and what have you, and people throwing roses your way. How do you handle that, and knowing that you don't even have an agent, if people come calling you, how do you deal with all that, the attention there?
I want to deal with it the right way. I don't know. I think it's positive. I mean, I'd rather be called an up-and-comer than a short and about to be gone. You know what I mean? And I'm like everybody else in the room. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I want to do what's right in those categories. And I want to be the husband and father God intends for me to be. And if it's in His plan, I would like to be the coach that I've always dreamed of being, selfishly. And I think part of the reason why I would be deemed an up-and-comer is because everybody thought we were going to be terrible, and we weren't. But I don't think that we were necessarily great. I think what allowed us to be solid is that we would fight and scrap and claw just to have a chance. And if you were to look at my career, and that's something, I was telling Todd this last night, that's something that it's hard for me to discuss, because I started as a manager at a junior college, volunteering at 17. And only because of God's grace, and in my opinion, my willingness to work every single day and tell people the truth and try to treat people the right way, that God would give me a chance to be a head coach at 33. And then know that it was not the right thing for me as a father and a husband to stay. And so I gave up my dream to do what I felt was a much higher priority. And then for God to give me another chance at a BCS great place, a place that mirrors what I believe. There's so much irony involved, you know? And so all of the people that, you know, now I can talk to whoever I want to talk to now, you know? And I don't mean that egotistically. A lot of times those people are calling me. But they're the same people that when I was at New Orleans, they were like, oh man, you know? And then when I left New Orleans, yeah, I'll see, he ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like an elephant on that stuff, I remember. And that's why I'm so grateful for the chance to be here. But I do think that your question is important. I don't want the attention or the notoriety, if that's what you would call it. I don't want it to change my priorities. And I don't want it to change who I am. And as I told Todd, that's really hard to do. And until you're living in it, you don't understand how hard it is to do. Because there's people coming at you from a million different directions on a million different things. And I don't want an agent, but I talk to all of them, you know. I've talked to a couple of them today. I just don't, that's not, I'd rather give that 4% to Bubba, you know. I can't give it to you. So I want to handle it the right way, and I think that will be the test for me. I don't think it's the test for anybody else. I think it's a test for me, and I think that's the test that God has given me. Okay, pal, this is what you wanted. Here it is. Now can you handle it the right way? And we'll see if I'm tough enough to handle it the right way.